recording here. Okay, so you can see how I've set up my space. So ideally, this is the setup that you would create for yourself. You'd have two chairs with the backs of these chairs facing in, and enough space between you here that there's like a little playground, a little training ground in between the chairs. So that as we're doing things where we're lifting one leg or we're working on shifting our weight and moving like this, you'll have something just in case you lose balance, or it just gives confidence in your to sort of challenge yourself balance wise. So do take your time if you can and set that up.
Okay.
Paul, are you capable of creating that setup for yourself? A couple of chairs, and then also a third chair here where you're sitting. So this is our setup for this class. If you want to get the most out of it, this is how you get everything put together. And take your time to do that here for a moment. And those of you that are already set up for that, you remember how to start class, which is we always start with our seated meditation work, which is really powerful for multiple different reasons. When we're in a chair, we have the potential to actually feel relaxed because it's less likely that we're going to fall out of a chair than if we're standing up and we have balance issues, right? So when you're sitting in your chair, this is great homework in general, is most of the time people are sitting back in their chair and kind of lounging in the chair. Why? Because it feels really good. It feels comfortable. But what happens is, you can see, if you imagine I had a back of this chair and I'm sitting, I'm training my body to have poor alignment and poor posture. So the most fundamental practice everyone can do is scoot forward in your sitting chair, sit at the front edge of your chair, and you can also see something here where if I take this stool down too low, so if I'm sitting in a chair that's too low, you see my knees are above my hips, and that promotes falling backwards. And that also can happen if we're sitting in something that's too soft. So we need enough.
Wait a minute.
Paul, you have a question?
Okay. I was messing with it. I'm having a hard time understanding you, and it's because of my hearing problem and the low quality of sound.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Well, do you have earbuds? I have to put my earbuds in, and then I can hear Otto really well. If I don't have them in, it's difficult. Do you have earbuds?
Earbuds
no, but if I can get this on my iPhone, then
yeah. Then you can use your earbuds.
Just a sec.
Renee, I don't know if you're saying something, but again, you're coming through kind of with that squirrel voice. I can't hear what's. Can you type it into the chat, Renee, if you have something to say? Because I can't understand you talking through the microphone for whatever reason. Okay, great. So Paul, what we can do too, if today's class is too sort of, if the technical difficulties are too much, we can talk after or at another time and try to work that out for you so that you have everything you need.
Let me just offer one other thing. Paul, if you have an iPad or a laptop and you're watching Otto on that, then turn the sound down on that and then use your iPhone with your iPods and listen through your phone, but look at the bigger image. That's what I do sometimes.
Just
That
a second.
I'm going to mute myself, Otto.
Thanks, Gail, for your help.
Christ,
Thank you.
why can't I find that?
Yeah, so as you try to work on that, Paul, I'm gonna mute everybody. So how I do this is I keep everybody muted, and so that it's not distracting. So Paul, you are currently muted, so I can't hear you as I continue moving forward with the class. I can't hear anybody, and that's how we have to do it. And just do your best today, try to figure this out today, Paul. And again, we can talk about it after or on another time. You can reach out to me and we can figure this out. So again, we've got our sitting at the front edge. We've got this central pillar idea. And then because we're in a chair and we've created this good posture, we then get to practice this important idea in Taoist Tai Chi thinking that says, look for your stability not through tightening and holding more, but through the opposite of that, which is releasing, relaxing, and letting go completely. Letting go of every single bit of effort and tension. And again, if I have bad posture with my head dropped down and my shoulders slumped and I relax in this position, this isn't going to work. This is crumpling me. So you have to apply that necessary effort first to put all the positions in place. So Chris, I'm noticing your elbows are up and your shoulders are up like this and your head is dropped like that. So you have to change that situation, right? I can't change that for you. You got to change it. You got to pay attention and feel, where is your head in relation to your neck? Where are your scapula and shoulders? How is your spine? Do you have Zhong or central upright? Do you have it? So if you lose that, everything else goes out the window. So that's our primary maneuver, is to put everything in place. After you've done that, then you can move on to the next idea, which is relax, release, soften, melt. What this does is it actually lets all the body parts and tissue relationships soften and separate, and there's a sort of plump quality, spacious quality in the body. So when you think about Tai Chi, you think about seeing people move in these sort of beautiful, graceful ways and being able to turn and shift and have all of this interesting sort of graceful function. That is made possible by what I just described. The infrastructure that is central alignment and then relaxing, releasing, and softening. And that's called Chunwan. This sinking heavily down, allowing that settling, gives us ground. And then when we've released that tension in the body, there's what's called Qingling, or lightness and nimbleness throughout your vehicle. So primary home practice every single day, multiple times a day if you can, is sit at the front edge of a chair, put all your body parts in correct alignment, soften and relax, feel that light quality, that soft quality through your body. To help with that, so we move down the sort of sequence, breathing. So you bring your mind, your attention to your breathing, and you take an inhale. Take a nice big inhale. Feel how that changes the structures of your body. You fill up, and there's an expanding and opening, a sort of stretching open on the inside. And then when you exhale, the opposite happens. Out breath, you feel all those structures and tissues soften and settle and consolidate. And then you do it again. You inhale long and smooth. Chris, notice your head falling forward, right? You guys have to be aware. You have to pay attention to what's happening in your body, or else, right? I guess you don't have to. You don't have to, but if you don't, right, clump, right? So pay attention and keep those basic ideas: structural alignment, relaxed and soft, breathing. Think of that as your primary fuel, right? You can last days without food, or weeks without food, days without water, not even minutes without breath, right? Consider that idea that your breath is so primary. So we want to get really good at it. Big, full breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Big, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Big, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Let's just do that for 5 more perfect breaths. And again, if all you did was this practice throughout your day, you'd be giving yourself a great benefit of cohesive calibration: brain, nervous system, body, structural alignment, relaxation. Again, Chris, I'll remind you about your head. It's your head that's falling forward. I don't know why. I don't know if you're looking down at the screen or something. Put your head up on top of your shoulders as best you can. Now, first movement. So now we do movements to help loosen up all the parts. First movement: slide your hands, elbows, and shoulder blades back. That's just the arms and shoulders moving. And then add to that, lift your chest and look up at the ceiling. So create a nice arch, a sort of back bend. Now the opposite of this movement, you slide your hands forward past your knees, and you hollow the chest back and drop your head and round the back. So we're just going to do this mechanism multiple times. Do it again. Slide your hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, lift your chest and look up to the ceiling. And then the opposite: slide your hands forward past your knees, hollow the chest and round the back, drop your head. And again, slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, look up. Inhale as you do this one. And then with the exhale, slide your hands forward past your knees, hollow the chest, round the back, drop your head. And again, slide hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades. Let's do this one 3 more times. And again, you could do it 5 more times when you use the video later to practice. You could do it 10 more times if this one feels really good or really useful to you. Slide hands, elbows, shoulder blades. All the way back, arch the back. So we want to go all the way to one end of the range of motion and then reverse it and go all the way to the other end of that range of motion. And reverse again and go all the way. And reverse again and go all the way. One more time. Slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back. Now from this arched position with your head back, Chris, remember, take your head back. Head back, back, back. Now just settle back to your middle position and pause there. So again, with regular practice, what this movement does is calibrate this direction of the mechanics and find middle. So ideally, you'll feel, hey, I'm a little more centered, I'm a little more stable here, and relaxed. The second movement, slide your right hand. Again, this is my left hand, but I'll say right because I'm your mirror. So slide your right hand and elbow back, your left hand forward, turn your shoulders to the right and turn your head to the right like you're trying to see behind you. And then we're going to switch. So bring your right hand forward, your left hand and elbow back, turn your shoulders to the left, and turn your head to the left. And then we switch again. So you just slide left hand forward, right hand and elbow back, turn the shoulders, turn the head. And then switch again. Turn. This is a basic idea in Tai Chi and Qigong practice that the health of the mechanism is the proper use and thorough use of the mechanism. That's how we upkeep each mechanism of our body. So right now we're doing the rotational movement. You're just turning to the left and then turning to the right. So it's simple. It's a simple idea. Question becomes, did you do it? Are you doing it? Are you practicing? Are you using them on a daily basis? And whether it's Parkinson's or other issues, people usually let their mechanisms deteriorate and become dormant or asleep. We're basically making a journey through our different mechanisms. Last one to each side, rotating to the right, and then coming back to the middle and rotating to the left. And then back to middle and stay in the middle for a second. Just pause there, and same idea. We've now, by turning all the way left and turning all the way right, we've helped our brain and body know where middle is, and middle is really the goal, this neutral middle position. Now the third direction, drop your arms and let them hang alongside you. Stay tall through the crown of your head, but lean. So shift your weight to your right buttock and lean. So allow this sort of palm tree bowing to the right, and then back to center, and then palm tree bowing to the left. And center. Now we add one additional thing to this, a little sort of silly movement in the arm. Float the arm up kind of like a marionette, like a puppet, like there's a string tied to your wrist. So float your left arm up, your left arm. As you float your left arm up, lean to the right. So what this does is it takes the tension off of this shoulder and allows us to explore a little more leaning. And then come back to center. Let this left arm go down. Bring that right wrist up. Right? And as this arm is up, lean to the left. Right? So bring that wrist up. See how it's almost at my shoulder height, if you can get it there. And then as you lean back to center, right hand goes down, left hand comes up, and lean. So try to find the flow now, what they call Schwen, means like the river. So now we're moving between these two directions, and we want it to have flow. We want to feel this sort of fluid, smooth, luxurious quality. There's a saying in Qigong practice, Tai Chi and Qigong are like resting. So we're doing these interesting positions and movements, but yet we want to do them like we're resting, like we're just kind of falling this way and falling this way. And this has a very interesting effect on the nervous system, on the tissue, and on the joints, different than sort of getting hyped, getting really amped up for practice. And that's not to say that boxing and high intensity interval training isn't good, because that is good. That's more yang. But this practice is more yin. We're learning how to be soft and smooth. Learning to have this graceful liquid quality. Really, really important. Really powerful, actually. And then back to middle. Now, very important mechanism in the body, scapula, shoulder blades. So, first movement of the shoulder blades, shrug up. And then slide down. That's called elevation and depression. Let's do it together. Up, down. The scapula are the most complicated joint. Go ahead, shrug up and down. They're the most complex joint in the body. When you look at how many different muscles are attached and what they're capable of doing, and there's many reasons why we have to upkeep them, not only for arm function, but also for balance. When we're tense here or stuck here, then our body's top heavy and clumsy. So we got to loosen up what the scapula can do. Now, the next movement the scapula do are retraction, like you're cracking a walnut between them, and then relax them. And the weird one, separate the scapula from each other. So look at the shape of my body. When I spread my shoulder blades apart, I create this hollowing in the chest because the scapula are coming to the side. And then do it again and squeeze them back. Notice how that changes. When you squeeze them back, this whole area is no longer hollow, it's buoyant. And then when I relax to neutral, there's neutral. And then when I spread the shoulder blades apart, this area hollows. So you got to be a shapeshifter. You got to change shapes. You got to be able to go to this shape, and then this shape, and then this shape in order to complete these mechanics. One more. So this is retraction, neutral, protraction. Now let's put them together. From protraction, lift. From lifted, retract. From retracted, slide down, and then let everything settle to neutral. So notice how I'm in neutral and I'm just hanging out. We do it again. Protract, forward, elevate, retract, slide down, neutral. And again, we want Schwen or flow with this eventually. Forward and up and back and down and neutral and forward, up, back, down. Reverse, back and up and forward and down and neutral and back, up, forward, down, neutral, back and up, forward and down and neutral and back, up, forward, down. One more, back, up, forward, down, and neutral. Now, that's enough on the upper body for today. Let's go to our lower body before we stand up and work on the balancing, actual standing. Scoot back on your chair so you feel very stable. And then we lift the right knee up and draw the right foot sort of in. So this loading gesture called chambering, and then push away. So all the way extended, and then load it again, put the foot down. Switch legs. So we load it, which is knee up and leg drawn in, push away, reload, and set the foot down. Other leg. Load, push, load, down. Other leg. Load, push, load, down. These are the ABCs of movement, right? The basic mechanisms and how they operate. The body's capable of very complex movement, but we can't hope to do those things if we can't do these basics, right? Now, straighten your right leg only and point, flex, point, flex. Very important. Just let's get our feet mechanics. Point and flex. Good news is it's finite. Each mechanism has a finite amount of movement. So that's one. Second one is tip the foot in, out, known as inversion, eversion. Inversion, eversion. Tip, tip, tip. Now, circle. In, around, and out, and up, and over, and in, around, out, up, and over. Circle. And reverse circles in the other direction. And down. Other leg, straighten. Point and flex. Point, flex. Point, flex. Point, flex. And then invert, evert. Tilt in, out. In, out. In, out. Circles. In, point, out, flex. In, point, out, flex. Circling. And then reverse circling. Out, point, in, flex. Circle. And down. Now, one more exercise with the legs, very important. Scoot forward to the front edge of your chair. Your legs here are in what we'll call neutral. Step them a little wider. Now, from the hips, rotation, internal and external rotation. So lift your toes, turning on your heels, turn your toes and knees in. So look at this kind of funny looking position. I've got my thighs rotating inward, my knees close together, and my toes pointing in. Now we do the opposite. Lift your toes, turn on the heels, turn out. So from here, known as the quad, the groin hip space. Now I've turned externally. Now the heels stay where they are, internally rotate. And then externally rotate. So as I said, the health of a mechanism is the thorough use of the mechanism. And if you applied that to every mechanism of the body, you're doing Taoist practice. Tai Chi, Qigong, really important upkeep for our vehicle. So we're healthfully using, thoroughly using every mechanism correctly in a relaxed, leisurely manner. That's Qigong. And back to neutral. Legs stay stable from the same quad or hip space. Fold. So notice how I folded forward, but if you look at my back, I did not round my back. And then sit vertical and lean back. So I'm making a very large change of my body's position in the room, my body's position in space, making a large change. But I'm doing it with sort of minimal effort because I'm just folding at these hips. And then I'm sitting vertical and I'm tipping back. One more time. The idea is that when we move from the correct middle mechanism in our body, we can operate this vehicle with ease. It's easy to do things that if we do them wrong, they're more difficult, right? So now sitting vertical, using all of this to stand up, slide your feet back a little bit. So notice how my knees are here. I brought my ankles a little bit behind the knees. So if we try to stand up like this, that's going to take a lot more lurching forward. So your best thing to do when it's time to stand up. So someone says, hey, okay, time to get up, or you got to go to the bathroom, get up and go. The first thing you do is you scoot to the front edge, slide your feet back a little, and then from these hips, notice that I'm going to stand up, but my first gesture is forward. Notice how I came forward to get my butt out of the chair and my weight down to my feet. And then I'm just pushing down and I'm standing vertical. So go ahead and do that. Come tipping forward and then stand up. Now notice your body weight. We don't want to be holding it in our shoulders. We don't want to be tight, locked. We want to be soft. We want to be loose. So now we're going to sit down and stand up a few times. Here's the quad, the hip space. Notice this gesture. So before you sit, do this movement. It's a really important movement. When it's time to sit down, too often what I see people do is punch their knees out first. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to punch your knees. You want to push your booty back a little. Notice how what's changed. My shoulders and head are in front. My butt is behind my ankles. So do just this movement a couple of times. This is how you finish standing up. You bring hips above feet. And then, okay, it's time to sit down. So we send the booty back a little. Now, once you've done this, you've opened up the mechanism to sinking. Now I found my chair. Now I tip back and I'm in my chair. So let's do that a few times. Remember that standing up is not just up, it's fold, forward, then up. Sitting down is not just back and down into the chair, it's fold, sink, find the chair, then commit to the chair. Eventually you can do this almost like it's second nature, but you do have to slow it down and go, okay, what is happening? So if you break it into its parts, you pull it apart first and go, oh, I see, it's this and then that, and then you blend those together for graceful movement. So a couple more. Fold and go forward, and then push through the earth and feel how you can just launch up tall. And then fold and sink, and then commit to your chair. Standing up one more time. Now, the exact same mechanism, but don't sit in your chair. Hips back, sink. Sink as low as you can, dangle your arms. See if you can touch your shins, maybe your ankles, maybe even your toes, and then push through the earth and stand all the way tall again. Let's do that 4 more times. So you don't even use your chair. Keep your chair where it is, but I'm pointing out, in this exercise, you're not sitting down in the chair, but look, I'm basically doing the exact same mechanism, and then pushing through the earth and rising back up. So being a shape shifter, I'm going from straight body to this shape, to this shape, to this shape, to this shape, and then back through all those shapes back to here. So Tai Chi and Qigong is to train us to have freedom of movement through all these different shapes. How do we get that done? Well, we relax, we release tension, which acts like a sort of lubrication. So if you imagine if you tightened everything up right now, that would be almost like you squirt super glue everywhere in your body. Tight, stuck tension makes everything not move. The moment you relax, suddenly there's a lubrication that allows you this gliding and sliding and free movement. So again, I'm just explaining the philosophy of how to operate our vehicle that is from the Tai Chi view, which to me is the best. It's the most primo. So now move over close to your right side chair, and ideally don't use the chair, but know that it's there for safety. Now we have our middle, so go ahead and take your index finger and just touch your belly button. Touch your belly button, and then take your other hand and go behind you and touch the back of your spine that is directly behind your belly button. That's called your Mingmen, or your gate of life, that general region on your back. And then feel the place like there's a line between your two hands, and there's a point right in between there. That's your middle. That's your middle pivot. So when I say middle pivot, it's the spot between navel and lower back. Drop your arms. Keep your mind in that spot, that middle pivot. Now, you have 2 legs. From your middle pivot, just change your weight so that more of your weight is in your right leg, less of your weight is in your left leg. And then from your middle pivot, change over to your left. Right leg a little empty. And then change over to your right. Now, what you want to make sure is not happening is this is stuck and you're leaning from the top. That's what a lot of people do. They are stuck here, and so then they're leaning the top over there to try to get to the right leg and leaning over there. But notice when I do it from my middle, I'm keeping my perfect vertical posture, and I'm changing to the right leg and changing to the left leg. And then changing to the right, changing to the left. So there's sort of an optical illusion when you're doing this. There is some movement left and some movement right, but it's less than we often think. So it's over to this left leg. Now, importantly, I'm just going to show you some mechanics. I don't want to lock my leg back. Actually, I want to soften this leg. So see how this has a little subtle bend through it? So when you go over to your left leg, allow a little softening like a bed spring. And then this side, you allow the weight to get through the mechanisms rather than be stuck in the mechanism. So there's this soft quality in this leg, and then from the middle, soft quality in this leg. And then soft quality in this leg, soft quality. Eventually you get to where it's 100 and 0, and then 100, 0, or as I like to say, the mountain and the cloud. You let this leg be a mountain, sturdy, and this leg is a cloud, wispy and free, and then you change. So now this leg is a mountain, and this one is a cloud, all from your middle pivot. Now, we take it up a notch. We just add challenge. So, put your weight in your left leg, let that be a mountain, and then with your cloud foot, lift to the tippy toe. And then put that heel back down and switch. So now make your right leg a mountain and your left leg a cloud. Lift the heel and get to the tippy toe. Place the heel back down and do it again. So from the middle, mountain and cloud, float the little cloud foot, and then change. Mountain the right leg, cloud the left, lift and lower. Again, mountain and cloud. So there is a source of support right underneath, right below all of our tension and stress and strain. We have to let go a little bit, and then suddenly we find, hey, there's this hydraulic, bouncy, spring-loaded system that you can utilize. And so any of this tension, any tension in our body, we're robbing ourselves of this primary system of hydraulics. Now, place your hand on the chair, put all your weight in the right leg, get to the tippy toe of the left foot. Now use your chair for safety as you lift. Disconnect this foot from the floor, and then place it back down empty, change. So from your middle pivot, change, weight goes down through the left leg, get to the tippy toe, disconnect, place the foot down, change. Now, some of you may feel like you need the chair more. Others may feel like, hey, maybe you'll try it no hand. But if you try with no hand and your body goes into chaos, use the chair. Even if it's just a finger on the chair to give you psychological courage and support to play with this pretty important and challenging maneuver of mountain, cloud. Mountain, cloud. Mountain. Now, hand on the chair for sure. Let's go full mechanism. So lift that empty knee all the way up and then just soften it long all the way down to the earth and then change. The weight goes 100% down through the right leg, tippy toe. Now all the way lift, all the way down, change. So middle pivot, mountain, cloud. Cloud leg stays a cloud till it goes all the way down, and then we change. Mountain, other leg is a cloud, all the way up, all the way down, change. So this separation of empty and full from the middle pivot is how we retain our function over time. If we lose this, which age or disease or a combo of both take away from us, but if we just focus on, no, I'm not going to allow that to go away. I'm going to keep this pliability, this dynamic separation. Boom. And now we've got middle. So let's take that to another level of challenge. So you got your chair on the right, step back from that chair just enough so the chair is just in reach, but it's in front of you. Put all your weight in your outside leg, away from the chair, should be your left leg. put your right foot in front with the heel touching. So notice how I've got mountain, and this is a cloud. This is empty. Now, the primary direction is still down. So I'm changing my weight into my right leg, down, and then changing the weight into the left leg, down. Notice how I've moved, and you've moved forward and backward, but I'm not leaning forward and getting myself past my skis, or leaning backwards and putting myself at risk. You're just relaxed, leisurely, and going down, down. Relax down to the earth. This is empty. Relax down to the earth. Now let's go one level further. So the weight is here, mountain. This is a cloud. Lift, lower, shift. Now this back leg is empty, like a little flamingo. Just bend the knee and touch the floor. So this is where your chair is useful. Hand on the chair as needed to allow you confidence to lift a straight leg, lower, and then shift, and then bend, down, shift. Now, if you're feeling confident and you don't use the chair, that would be a step up in challenge where you go, okay, I'm just using my own alignment and groundedness to do this second level exercise. Bend of knee. The weight going down allows this to safely lift. Primary direction is down, allowing this to lift. And then one step further in challenge. Do use the chair here as you go full lift. So we want to use the chair so that we can fully lift, and then soften it down. Change the weight. Now we bring this back leg forward and up all the way. Reach the foot back, and then shift. The weight down, relaxed down body, allows cloud, cloud. And then the weight going down through this leg and emptying this leg allows the cloud movement. So inside of all of this freedom of movement is stillness. So that stillness is that stability. Not a bunch of tension holding us up, but the opposite. We're so relaxed. That's Tai Chi. So relaxed that there's internal stillness and equilibrium and absolute function of the mechanisms outside. Switching sides. So bring your feet together. Side step closer to your other chair. Bring your feet together. Again, I turn to an angle so that you guys can see some of the depth of what's happening. But you just keep facing forward and looking straight ahead. Put all of your weight in your outside leg or your right leg. Hand on chair as needed, and put your left foot in front. Empty. Mountain, cloud. And then from your middle pivot, weight goes down into this front leg. Now this is the mountain, this is the cloud. And then change. Mountain and cloud. Middle pivot, central equilibrium, change, change. This is first exercise is a great one, if possible, to go no hands on anything and just work on, can I be relaxed? There's a sort of courage required to be relaxed in the face of a moment of challenge and threat. So going, okay, change in weight, moving in space, but I'm not tightening, I'm not guarding, I'm relaxing, relaxing. That's an essence of Tai Chi practice there. Hand on the chair, level 2, we lift, lower, shift, let that hand slide forward on the chair, and then like a flamingo, bend, touch, shift. So level 2, beginner, is hand on chair the whole way. And then as you get more and more confident, you might even try no hand, lift, lower, shift, no hand, bend, and shift, lift, lower, shift. And you just know the chair is there at all times to keep you safe. Again, falling not an option. We don't want that to happen, but we do have to flirt with challenge. We got to go right up to our edges every day, or else those edges creep in and we get more narrowed in our function. Now, hands on the chair, full lift, down, shift. So now all the weight goes down through that formerly empty leg, and now the back leg is empty. We go forward and up, toe reach back, shift. All the weight down through this leg free, lift, down, shift. Now this leg free, lift, back, shift. Now this leg. Remember that point I was making about equilibrium. Soft and loose, relaxed body gives us function, yet stillness. And back. Now we're going to put that to the test. And again, make sure you're able to be safe here by having your chairs maybe a little closer together so that you can reach them. And then make your way to the left side of your space. And then turn and face down range. So think of this now like you have a runway or a catwalk out in front of you. You've got room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps forward and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps back. So let's put into practice what we just did. So put all your weight in your right leg, empty left foot, put it in front. Okay, it's empty. Now change the weight. So I've taken 1 step forward, this foot is now empty. When you step your empty foot, keep it empty. Notice how I took a step and I didn't put any weight in it. Then I commit weight to it, and that's what moves me forward. So the step happens without any weight shift. That's usually where people get in trouble. They step and sort of clumsily commit to that foot, and that's where tripping, falling, and just bad mechanics happen. So work on stepping the foot while still empty, and then changing the weight. Now this foot is empty, step it while it's still empty, and then change. And eventually this can have Schwen. You can do this and flow forward and flow back and move all around, but you have to be able to separate these events. Now backwards, same thing. You go change the weight into the leg that's behind you, commit and have a mountain. The other foot is a cloud, step it a little bit behind, toe touching. You're still in your mountain leg, and then you commit. Commit to your new leg, and that moves you backwards in space. Now you've got your left leg as a mountain, right foot empty, step it. Notice in this step, I'm not moving in space. I'm just stepping my foot. Then when I commit to the leg, that's when I move through space. Step without shifting. Shift without stepping. Step. Shift. Step. Shift. Let's go forward again. Shift. Step the empty foot. Shift. Step. Shift. Step. Shift. Those of you that have been doing this a while, you can go a little faster if you want to. You can take longer strides. So that's a really important one, is at first we're going with small enough steps to feel relaxed, to keep our vertical upright quality. So we're not thinking, oh, I got to take big old steps yet. What we're really focused on is, can I empty and fill and separate what is full and separate what is empty? But as you can see with me now, just watch me move. Instead of taking small steps and doing this, you can eventually take big steps and down to the earth, big step down to the earth. So now I just got across the room. I covered that distance in a shorter period of time, but not because I went like this and hurried across the room. So how do we use Tai Chi to speed up? We don't speed up. We actually go so relaxed that we can go 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2. But you can see if you're watching me move, if you have the eye for it, you can see that my middle equilibrium is still. So it looks like I'm moving fast, but inside it's like I'm floating. I'm not even moving at all. And that's what Tai Chi offers with practice, is this freedom of movement, this snappy, poppy quality, but inside you're just leisurely. You're just relaxing, right? So we're going back and forth. Let's just do a couple more. Those of you that have been doing it a while, you can do the stepping over, pretending you're actually stepping over a curb or a, obstacle of some kind. So that just tests how really quality mountainous are you in one leg, and then can you change and get mountainous in the other so that this is a cloud, and then change so it's mountain and cloud, change, mountain and cloud. And the other saying in Tai Chi is 1 full, 3 empty, meaning when I'm stepping, both my arms and my one leg have this floating quality. And then again, so really all that is full is just this one sturdy leg, and the rest of the body is lithe and fluid. And so that's where all that interesting Tai Chi movement shows up. All this beautiful turning and wheeling and all this beautiful stuff comes because everything gets relaxed and we take care of our sturdy connection to the earth through one leg, and then through another leg, and then through another, and then through another, and our middle stays relaxed and functional. Right? So it's a lot of beautiful ideas that have to be practiced. And if they're not practiced, you don't have access to them. Now, we'll finish with side walking or side steps. So come over to the far left of your space, put all the weight in your left leg, and now step this empty right leg out and in. We're going to do this a few times. Out, in. Middle pivot, 100%, empty, and it remains empty. Test yourself to see if you can speed that up. All right. Now put the right foot out, empty, and then from your middle, change. So now go 100% in this leg, 0 in this, and then change back. 100, 0. Middle intact. 100, 0. Middle intact. 100, 0. Middle intact. Now, stay through your right leg, left foot empty, in and out. In, out. In, out. Can you speed it up a little? In, out. This quad, remember the hip space I was talking about. Closed, opened, closed, opened. This one is closed. Now, bring your left foot in, feet together. Both claw closed, change the weight to the left leg, right leg. So when the feet are so close together, it's like we're stuck inside of a very tight space, and yet we should still be able to go 100, 0, and 100, 0. So see if you can find that middle mechanism that allows you to go full empty change, full empty change, full empty change, full empty change. Now stay down through your left leg, right foot empty, step that empty foot out. Change the weight so you move sideways in space. Left foot empty, bring it in. Change the weight through the left leg, right foot empty, step out. Change the weight through the right leg, left foot empty, step in. So we're training the functional mechanism here of the quad. So side steps have a wonderful ability of getting the quad to open and close. Whereas often these are stuck. So now we're opening and closing. We're buying real estate here with the only currency that allows us to buy this real estate, practice. It's the only way to get it. Out, change. So now it's open, close, we close, then we change, full, empty. Now we open, then we close this side, open this side, bring it in. Keep them closed, change the weight, and open, change, in, change, out, change, in, change, out, change. Middle pillar, still intact. There, back again. When you get looser, then you find you can very quickly release the weight through one leg, and that frees this one. And then you release the weight through this leg, which frees this one to come in. And that's where speed comes back, where we can go, relax, and then, relax, and then, So now I'm moving fast, but most of the time when people try to move fast, they tighten up and hurry up and then clumsy and then fall, right? Instead of relax more and then use that relaxed state to, right? All this freedom of change from the middle. So we slow down enough to free the parts, and then we're right, and that's that athleticism that makes us feel young, makes us feel functional, and it's that stiffness that makes us go, uh-oh, this vehicle's not young anymore, right? So if we train the Taoist way, then we get back at least some, if not quite a bit, of that important limberness. And then we finish, again, this was a very sort of fundamentals class. There's a lot more that we do as you get more comfortable with the sequence, right? Then we finish with a little self-massage just to reset all the channels and mechanisms. So hands together, rub your palms. Then you rub the back of one hand. Rub your palms again. Come around and rub the back of the other hand. Rub your palms again. And then we go right for the mechanism of the quad, because this is the one we used a lot today. Quad, hips, groin area, inguinal crease. And then the hip flexors, this front of the hip and thigh where they meet. And then we go around to the tail, and then up onto that lumbar. And then remember our squat that we did earlier. So now the butt goes back, squat the booty down and sweep your hands down the outside channels of the legs, come around to the inside channels, and then stand up and bring the hands up past the groin to your belly button or your middle pivot. We'll do that little set again. Groin, hip flexors, tail, up onto the lower back, and then in a smooth gesture, you stick your butt back a little, sit the buttocks and sweep the hands down the outside of the legs, bring the hands around to the inside, standing up, bringing the hands up the inside and to the belly button. Third time's a charm. Groin, hip flexors, tailbone, lower back, outside channels, inside channels, navel. And finally, the full reset of up the outer, turn, down the inner, and off. And we repeat on that same arm. Outer, turn, inner, and off. Outer, sweep, sweep, sweep. Yang channels, yin channels. Yang, yin. And switch. Yang channels, yin channels. Yang, yin. Yang, yin. And we close with this gesture called shogun, or closing gesture. Wings, turn your palms up, fold hands over top, and like a settling, a gesture that promotes the mind, the energy of our body, all to return to this middle. Let's do that one more time. Hands sweep, turn palms up, fold them over top, a consolidating gesture. And as the hands arrive at the navel position, turn the hands palms in. And then we close the whole practice by stacking one hand on the belly button, other hand over top, sort of like corking the wine barrel. And then we finish with this hand gesture representing this yin-yang symbol that we've all seen with the black and the white fish with the little dot in one and the other. So the hands reminding us to find the middle pivot between up and down, left and right, front and back. It's the middle that we're cultivating. So this hand position reminds us of that, and we close. All right, thank you so much, everybody. If there are any questions, please unmute yourself so we can chat about it. I know many of you have to wander off, so feel free to say bye-bye and off you go. But if there's anything else to discuss. And Paul, I'd love to know if you figured out your audio issues.